Welcome to the Hilly Short Film Festival. We're having a little interview today that we got like filmmakers named Jeff Stones here. Uh enjoy. Hey Jeff, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you? It's good to be here.
Good. Yeah. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. My name's Jeff Stone. I'm from New Hampshire. I live in Oakland now. I've been here for about 12 years. I've been working in film since around 2005, and trying to tell stories and all that. As part of that, I'm married. I've got two kids. They're 8 and 10. Um, Yeah, I have a little urban farm in North Oakland. I
Oh,
raise
that's great.
chickens and rabbits and bees. I got a lot going on in life. So
Yeah, you got a lot of going on stuff.
yeah,
How did you
yeah.
decide to become a filmmaker?
Uh, you know, when I was in high school, I really enjoyed the storytelling process. I was always a kind of a creative kid, and when I was looking at colleges, I decided I want to go to somewhere that had a film program to try to see if that would be a thing that I could make a life out of, make a
Oh,
career out of.
that's great. So do you have like any experience or like incident that, oh, this is what I want to do?
Was there ever a moment that I had that? Yeah, I wish I had a like some filmmakers have that, like I watched this movie and that told me that I needed to
Yeah,
be
okay.
a filmmaker. I don't really have that movie. I think it's that moment, but it was more I think what got me into wanting to do it is just always been an observer of human nature and people and a listener. And I
Right.
have all these stories that I've heard and that I want to tell my own in some ways. Uh,
Right,
so
right.
that sort of grew little by little, I
Oh,
think.
okay. So
Yeah.
what would you like advise like a lot of youth wanted to be filmmakers? What would your advice to them?
Yeah. I get this question a lot from young people when they want to talk to me about making movies. And the biggest and the best piece of advice that I ever got that I like to pass along is if you want to be a filmmaker, make a film. And that's it.
Pretty
Like
much
it's
straightforward.
Yeah, it's so much easier now than when I was coming up. Everybody's got a smartphone with a camera on it,
Hmm.
and I think it being what I like to tell people is just make it and figure out how to do stuff. If it sucks, that's okay because it's your first one, and then if your second one will suck less, and then your third one will be better. They'll continually get better, and just always pay attention to what you're making and pay attention to the feedback you're getting and listen to that. You don't always have to take the advice, but you have to hear what their people are saying and how they're reacting to your film, and it can help make your films and
Oh
the
yeah.
way you tell stories
Right.
better.
It's grind. It's grind that you gotta do it like continuously and make it happen. So like
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to see Spike Lee's lecture one time when he was in film school. He was collecting cans in a bottle out of the
yeah,
street.
I
Everybody
did that
thought
as
he was
well.
crazy, but look at him.
That's
So like all
the
kind of
thing I did too.
stories
Yeah,
behind it.
yeah,
And tell me about your film. Was it I Don't Trust Me, You, Myself?
yes,
Myself?
that's
Yeah.
the uh like you want to give me more specifics about what to tell you, or should I just launch into something?
Well, it's like give me a little plot.
Well, actually, there's not the plot is a little bit. I'd say the film is a little bit more of an experimental film.
Mhm.
It is a film that explores these three short vignettes of these different or not different characters, and just a tiny little story about what they're doing in this one little moment. But those three little vignettes are linked together um, by the viewer's perception, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch a couple times, trying to figure it out.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of like I mean, I don't know what you plan for it, but to me, kind of feel like it was a little bit kind of like Pulp Fiction, the movie.
Hmm.
So like chop it up. Are you planning to make it a feature film or?
For this one, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I right now, where the plans I have, I actually don't have any future plans for it. If somebody wanted to kind of dive into it, or if somebody would wanted to invest
Mhm.
in this little nugget of a story to develop a bigger story, I'd love to do that. My wife's a screenwriter; she wrote it.
Oh, she
Um,
wrote it.
she wrote it, and she's a screenwriter. And so I can definitely see there's a lot of themes that
Hmm.
I would love to explore that's in there, with just the character, the heart of the characters, and like what they're actually doing, where they're searching for, how did they end up here. uh there's a lot that could be expounded upon from this.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's got like a lot of hidden messages and stuff.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
it was like a cultish one point that whole family going to the basement and holding
Yeah.
the hands. I hate my daddy when he comes home. So it was like trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that
And then
second
the
second
opening
section
was
got a
hit
little
by
dark. Yeah, yeah, that second section was the darkest of them all. Yeah.
right, right. Yeah, it was some message to it. That's what I felt. And since you're a director, you read a script when when you direct a film, script and go by words. How you paint the picture when you
How
shoot the
do you know? If I want to talk about this particular movie,
film?
actually, it kind of went the other way, where it was, like I said, it was an experiment in which the initial one. I wrote a short story, and then I had some different ideas about the vignettes that I wanted to tell with this, and went out, shot a bunch of stuff, and then wrote and then cut it together, and kind of allowed the pictures and the story to tell me what it was going to be.
Hmm.
And so to respond to your question, I can't necessarily talk about this film,
Hmm.
but when I do read a script,
Hmm.
and we're trying to piece that together, um, it's like I like to just try to get into it and see what's really the most important to me
Hmm.
in that. Like, what's the nugget of this story that I can take away from that, that
Hmm.
each viewer is going to have their own way that they're going to see it, and the only way that I can tell it is the way it's read to me and how it hits me emotionally.
Hmm.
uh I sort of go from there. I go to the emotional core of it, and then back, and then out to the visuals, and then
Oh,
out to the acting, how
oh,
to
okay.
tell
Okay.
the story. Does
I mean, you
that
gotta
make
have a
sense?
reason to do it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So,
Yeah.
like, what's the hardest part of making this film?
Uh, the with this particular, with Trust, the hardest part, it was a very long process, because it was like I wrote this short story over a decade ago, and then it just sort of hung out in my brain as I formulated thinking about what I wanted to do with it. Um, and then when it actually came to go shooting it's shot in three different places. It was shot in Portland, it was shot in Oklahoma, and it was shot
Or something?
in New Hampshire.
New
And so,
Hampshire.
yeah, and so like my cast was all over the country. And then when it initially came together, the story didn't make much sense to me. It didn't tell anything. It was just sort of bland. So then it had to go back to the editing suite, and we had to go back and we had to tear it down in a lot of ways. Tear it down, put it back up, tear it down, put it back up, until I could see an overall story and an arc in the individual vignettes, as well as the larger the larger story as a whole.
Oh, oh,
So,
okay. I
yeah.
mean, you shot like three different locations. I mean, did you cast the people in the location or you cast it in a bay?
They they were cast, they're all people that I know, but they
Uh-huh.
were cast based on how they look, and how and none of them are professional actors. And so it was, I just the first vignette is a good friend of mine that lives up in Portland, and you've seen his face. He carries a lot of emotion in his face and a lot of depth.
Which scene was that?
The first one where he's
Oh,
down by
that
the water,
dig in the hole?
digging the hole, and yeah, yeah. And so, like, you could see in his face there was some he was conflicted, and there was sort of fear and also determination, and like that's the way his face is, and I knew that I just needed to capture him. No,
Mm.
it's not a situation that he's normally in.
I like that, like a little profile shot though.
What's that?
I like that little profile shot as
Mm-hmm.
he walks and he was obviously going through stuff.
Going
And
through some stuff.
I don't know if he regretted
Yeah.
what he did or he did not. I couldn't tell. But
Exactly. And that's
yeah.
why I wanted him in the movie, because
Hmm.
that particular actor you couldn't tell. And then the other ones, like the chapter at the end, they're the two guys, they look similar. They are also not actors either. And for most of it, I shot it. They're completely separate. They weren't together.
Hmm.
But I knew there were some things in some locations that they would be doing certain things, like out ice fishing. I knew that that was a location that would mirror what the ice fishing with the beer brewing, and a lot of the visuals in that respect, they
Hmm.
were similar to one another.
Hmm.
So I knew that I needed to do that section with those two particular people, because those are two things that they were comfortable with. And so when
Hmm.
they're acting, they were acting, they were actually doing the thing. They were out ice fishing, and I was shooting the ice fishing in almost a documentary style, so that then I could cut it together and allow the visuals to tell the story.
Hmm. Oh, how about that? Since you shot in a three different location, I mean, I've read so many great screenplay feature, so many of them. But the shooting a film costs money.
Yes.
It's a budget. It's hard, and a lot of time it flops because of that. They don't have enough funds. So how you come up with the funds? Did you have any sponsors, or if you did have a sponsor, how you get the sponsors?
This film was just all a shoestring budget. It was it the we did actually, I don't even think I lit anything. I'm thinking back now. No, so it was really just sort of like a run and gun kind of
Hmm.
project,
Hmm.
where I used the natural lighting. It was shot on a 5D, which is really good at capturing
Hmm.
natural
Oh, it
light.
looked good. It looked good.
Yeah, and so the actually that was sorry about the beep there. So the
Awesome.
budget was just, it just came out of my pocket, and a lot of it was, I planned it around trips I already had,
Mm.
so that I was already going somewhere. Like, let's shoot it because I'm going to be there. Let's shoot it because I'm going to be over here.
Oh, okay.
That saved a lot of money because
Right,
I was
right.
already there, and I already had the camera and I already had the gear.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, and
Oh,
if
but
I
I
had the gear
mean,
because I used to have a small production company when I lived in LA, so I had,
oh,
you
you're
know,
living in LA. Nice. So, what about scouting the locations? Like,
yeah.
was like how did you scout the location?
So the Portland scene, I knew I knew there was a lot of rivers, a lot of water up there. And so a lot of that I relied on my friend who's in it, and he lives up in Portland, and he knew that place to go. And like, there were some times you probably can see some fear on his face, because I think we were on land we weren't actually supposed to be. I think it was like some government land where we were shooting,
Mm.
and we just kind of snuck down off the freeway and we were there. And so
Um,
when that boat came by, I don't think he was acting. I think he was actually really terrified. That's why we ducked down and were trying to hide. Um, and then this section in Oklahoma, we had some friends that had a bomb shelter in their basement, and so
what?
that one just
So
that
so that was like a look like a family going to the basement, that scene.
yeah, and it was a bomb shelter. All that stuff in that was in that down in that basement. All those old military rations and jars and stuff. Those were all in their basement, maybe not a bomb shelter. There's probably like a tornado structure, because they get a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
tornadoes out there. So they had that down there so that they would be safe. Um, and then and then in the section in New Hampshire, that a lot of that was shot in my hometown. So I already,
Mm.
again, I knew exactly. I had that visual in my head, where I wanted to shoot it. So
Hmm.
a lot of the locations kind of came to me rather than me having to go out. I was
Oh,
fortunate.
okay. That yeah, that I guess that saves money.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah. But like one thing, man, budget. budget is just always like a money, money, money. You just end of the day, you get a big sponsors, yeah, it's good, but if you don't, it's so hard, and you
Yeah.
gotta come out from your pocket. Well, if you own the company, tax write off, but still, you don't
Yeah.
come from your
Yeah.
pocket.
But the best part about not having a sponsor or somebody giving me money was that nobody was telling me what to do. Right. I didn't have to worry about pleasing a producer or making a deadline as much as I wanted to get it done faster than I did. It
Mhm.
allowed, I had kids in the meantime and bought a house, like all like normal life stuff. And
Right,
I was
right.
able to just like kind of get it done as I wanted it, when I
Mm-hmm.
wanted it.
Mm. How long did it take to shoot?
Each let's see, the as a whole, it was probably a total of 6 days, but spread out over a couple of years. They were
Oh,
shot
okay.
kind of in different times, and then I had to go back and do some pickups. Especially, I had to do some pickups in the New Hampshire in the third vignette. I had to do some pickups because that story just wasn't getting there with what I had. So
Mm.
yeah,
How about that? Did you edit too?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's the process in the editing?
For this one, like I said, it was a really much more experimental film.
Mm-hmm.
I found a lot of the story in the edit, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
where I had originally shot and cut the first vignette and thought that was good, but
Mm-hmm.
then over time I had done these other two, and I was initially going to just have them be three individual stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut them all individually together, and I thought I had a good three little kind of trilogy in a way.
Right.
And they were shot differently. Not excuse me, not shot differently. They were cut differently. The music
Mm-hmm.
was different. The voiceover was different for all three. And then
Mm-hmm.
as I put them together and I watched them separately, they just weren't speaking. They weren't saying anything as themselves. And so I just kind of used it as again, more of an experiment to say, like, let's take this back. Let's take the whole thing back to the beginning. And maybe if we just, I liked the first vignette the most, and the
Mm-hmm.
music that was there, the way it was cut. So I took that same just temp music and
Mm-hmm.
put it over the other two, and then cut them in a similar way. And then even the first time I did that, I put them together with that music, same pattern, same pacing, same general idea. It something clicked, and then I knew I had the movie, that I just needed to tweak it and have my wife rewrite the voiceover to really tell the story that was in there.
Yeah, it was if I was Shaggy from Scooby, I would say spooky, but I'm grown as man, so I gotta say it was eerie.
Yeah, all right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was I was trying to figure it out. It was something connected to, like, I mean, it was more like I came to the conclusion that it was more like art form that you put it together in that sense, other than like a stretch in a movie, I should say. Now after I talk to you. So I guess
Yeah.
you tried it really good. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
7 minutes of film.
What's that?
7 minutes of film, that's a lot of work for 7 minutes. I mean, people don't
Yeah.
really know. Like, people would go to see just a hour and a half movie. People don't really
Yeah.
know how much time and effort that you need to put it in.
Mhm.
7 minutes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been doing it since 2005, believe. So what are you currently working, and how are you gonna take it to next step?
Certainly, that's a good question. So, right now, I'm in post production for a feature documentary that I shot in LA about life in a Winnebago that I lived in back then. Like I said, my wife is a screenwriter, so we just finished up a great feature script about the softball team in the '90s. We are working on a historical biopic about a 9-year-old girl in World War II in Poland and Russia. And I'm currently trying to get another short off the ground hopefully an animated short that my wife and I wrote. I'm gonna say this was probably written 6 or 7 years ago. So I've
Oh,
got a lot of little tiny projects in the works all the time.
yeah, it's a long process. I mean, you
Yeah,
just gotta get on it.
yeah, yeah. I just gotta like try to make time for it, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just yeah, that's great. Seems like you got a bright future.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, is there anything you want to say to people out there watching this or
Uh,
something?
yeah, gosh, I hope you are having a good time at the festival. I hope you enjoy my film, and I hope you enjoy all the other the great art that's being made at this festival as well. So,
Oh
I'm glad
yeah,
you're here.
yeah. Jeff Stone, people. Jeff
Thank
Stone.
you. All
Yeah.
right.
Looking forward to seeing you. And then this is gonna be the end of the interview. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Toothbrush.